Hey everyone, welcome to Breakout Wednesday for Feb 9 2022. It's currently about 3 p.m. on the West Coast, 6 p.m. on the East Coast. First of all, remember this is never financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is simply a video blog on how one trader sees the market, and everyone needs to take responsibility for their own decisions. The market has been snapping back, and I'm not going to have an opinion on it. It's just going to continue to concentrate on my setups and controlling my risk. Now, from last week, COE faked out and it's back in its base. I still have an open trade. I'll touch up again next week on how that went. And MVF, the new trade that I'm using, it's a wider stop, just sitting with that trend. It's behaving right at the moment. Now, a bunch of new setups. Not all of these I'm going to take, but I'm watching, and some of them probably aren't even ever going to break out. So let's just quickly rattle through them. AAC, okay, and it's a bit of a boring, slow-moving stock, but it's sitting in a very clean base, big volume coming in today. Pretty obvious where the resistance is. Traded it twice lately, here, and it behaved well both times. More shorter term thinking rather than like a long-term position or anything. I definitely think we're in the sort of market right now that it's kind of friendly for scalping and just 3, 4, 5, 6 day trades, that sort of thing. And so that's how I'm going to treat it until the market changes. There are some exceptions in certain sectors, which I'll touch on later. Apple. Okay, I'm always watching Apple. There's very rarely a day that I won't look at the Apple chart. Okay, and we were talking about it back here when it was breaking out and went for a nice run. And these stocks, these leading stocks with huge institutional backing, have a habit of trending and moving nicely. Didn't really get hammered like a lot of the other stocks during this correction. Okay, I mean, let's just look at one of the old leaders, which I've talked about too much, but Shopify got so hammered. Obviously, it's more of a pure play and not such a leader, but Apple just held up so well. If we can have a decent market, then it potentially can just lead the market a lot higher. And so I'm watching Apple super carefully. Google's also an important one to keep an eye on, I think. If Google starts falling over, everything will. AGL. Okay, AGL is obviously this stock I've been bagging out for a few years as it went from $28 down to $4, and a lot of well-known brokers were kind of putting buy orders out during that decline. Okay, and so now we have an uptrend forming. It's still pretty immature, but it's there, and the moving averages are all slowly starting to come across. Obviously, they lag, but I've gone over that so many times. I have a position on this. It's a starter position. I am going to try and ride this one a bit longer. It's not just a scalp. And I think it's an interesting play. Okay, that touching back on ORG that we talked about a lot last year. I mean, this thing just closed on its high today, and it's still recovering, still kind of grinding higher. All right, now a few more. So PSC. Okay, PSC. It's not the cleanest setup. It's tightening. Like the last 2 days of volume have just been super low, and it's in a strong uptrend. Okay, it's really finding support on its 20-day moving average, this one here. He's bouncing off it, and it's really tightening. I have my resistance at 88, and I just think risk reward, if we can, it's in that sort of sector that if we can just get above 88 and just have a successful breakout, then the risk reward on that, my risk is very low, and I could potentially make 2 or 3 to 1 risk reward comfortably on that one. Okay, so PSC is one I'm pretty keen on. BSC I'm not going to talk about because I talked about it last week and nothing's really changed. It's just basing away there, and so keep an eye on that. CAU is one I'm watching. It's a liquid. I'm going to have to look at the order book and see if I can actually get a fill on it, but had this big gap up on big volume where no major news came out. It's just been basing ever since, and then it's just looking like it wants to break higher, and so keeping an eye on CAU. Okay, and I will trade it as long as I can get a fill and I can actually get out of it. So I need to do some order book work on that guy. And then a risky move, I guess. BIDU, and obviously this is a Chinese play, and it's listed on the Nasdaq, and it didn't dump a lot of these Chinese stocks, Chinese tech stocks and Chinese internet stocks, they didn't dump as hard as the rest of the tech world did during this correction. And this has some clear bottoming action. Okay, the risk reward on setups like this is stupidly good, and I will be grabbing some. The China stuff still scares me. I don't trust it, but you know, I'm not a fundamental person. Mainly, I'm a technical trader, and I'm going to take a little position on this guy, and with a really good risk reward in place, and I'm going to just sit back, let it unfold. Okay, so what do I mean by a good risk reward in place? I mean, it's really simple. You know, you're just trying to find setups where you can put a stop, and the stop is relatively close yet in a safe position. So, you know, let's say this breaks out, then reverses and takes these lows here out. I mean, that's a clear sign that I was wrong, okay? And my risk on that is very low. And if I'm right and this thing breaks out and finds its way up here, like the ORG trade has and like so many others have, then if it can just get up here, then, you know, that's an easy 3 to 4 to 1 risk reward. And you can legit only need to win 30% of trades to do very well. Okay, and this is just a game of maths. Okay, you know, there is one other little one just for the stock lovers out there, JAT. I have not made my mind up on JAT. It's interesting, isn't it? You know, just big volume, big move up, consolidation. I'd love that to consolidate for longer. Okay, it has, you know, marked resistance right above the resistance level. Just kind of turned me off it. It's one I'm watching. The jury's out. I haven't made my mind up. I'm leaning to the side of no on that guy, but, you know, I just thought I'd bring it up. I think I'll probably just leave that alone. I don't need that risk in my life right now. What I really want is blue sky. Okay, I just want, if CAU breaks out, everyone's happy above there. I mean, there's no one in the red. There's no one that's losing money over the last couple of years. Everyone's happy, and they're you know, statistically, obviously, you know, this one example means nothing, but if you just get 100 setups, the ones with blue sky above them tend to run a lot more than the ones with a lot of overhead supply and resistance. All right, that's it for stocks. I'm just going to talk a little bit about crypto, and a new thing I'm going to start doing for crypto fans is I'm going to mark in the show notes just below each video at exactly what time I start talking about crypto. So, because it's come to my attention that there are a lot of some people that give zero shits about the stock stuff. So I'm just going to put the minute mark on when the crypto chat banter begins. Okay. Now, we've had a really nice rally on the Bitcoin market, and I kind of felt I crapped on about this bottoming type action for 2 or 3 weeks in a row on Breakout Wednesday, and I started thinking that, you know, maybe I was, you know, going to end up looking like a total dickhead doing that. But obviously, we're lucky we've had this rally, and we had this massive falling wedge, which I've talked about, and it just broke out of it, and all these flush outs. And as far as I'm concerned, the game's changed again. We're no longer in a big downtrend. We've broken out of this huge falling wedge, and, you know, Bitcoin loves to break out of these falling channels or wedges, whatever you're going to call them. It did it here, it did it back here. If I zoomed out, don't know why that's happening. Sorry, I don't know how to make this chart zoom out. I do, but not with my current laptop. It's just a bit cumbersome, so let's just forget it. But it loves breaking out of these wedges and having nice uptrends, okay? And so I'm expecting this to pull back in the short term, and then, you know, if I'm right about this, we're going to have a nice pullbacks, and then we're going to continue our uptrend, okay? Definitely don't think Bitcoin's dead. I definitely don't think crypto's dead. I think it's early days, and you know, I'm definitely in my long-term position. I'm still hodling and being patient. Now, furthering on from that, I think it's worthwhile chatting about wrapped Bitcoin, okay? Because, you know, I've been kind of a victim of this too in many ways, where I am into DeFi, and I do have quite a lot of my holdings in the DeFi market earning interest for me, okay? But I definitely do still have quite a lot of Bitcoin that's just sitting in my hard wallet, my ledger, and just sitting there. I've got my keys and all that sort of stuff, and blah blah blah. It's just and it's not earning any interest. For those who are deep into this, you can just tune off right now and just check out, because this is going to be really boring. But for those who haven't got their head around DeFi yet, Wrap Bitcoin is just a way to turn your Bitcoin into what's Wrap Bitcoin, so it then can join there. It becomes an ERC20 token, and it can be used on the Ethereum blockchain. And therefore, once you wrap your Bitcoin into Wrap Bitcoin, then you can play with it in the DeFi world. Okay, you can play with it on the Ethereum network, and go to Uniswap, or go to Curve, or wherever the hell you want to go, and put it to work for you, earning interest. You can use it to borrow in lending markets. Okay. Or you can move it to another blockchain, like Avalanche or Phantom or whatever, and you can use that Wrap Bitcoin or Polygon or whatnot, and you can use that Wrap Bitcoin in those markets where there's less fees to generate interest. And so I definitely think that for me personally, if I'm never ever planning to sell, well, maybe one day, but if I'm never, in the very short or medium or many decades from now planning on selling my Bitcoin, then why do I still have some Bitcoin that's not wrapped? Because compounding interest and turn it into Wrap Bitcoin and actually getting it working for you, for me and for you, earning interest it makes more sense. And I have a fair bit of it. I have a fair bit of Wrap Bitcoin at the moment, which I'm using, but I think that I definitely still have some pure Bitcoin sitting there that's not wrapped, and it doesn't make too much sense. I just thought because that's what's going on in my head right now, I thought I'd quickly touch on it, on what Wrap Bitcoin is. And obviously Wrap Bitcoin and Bitcoin are just pegged, it's exactly the same thing. Bitcoin crashes, your Wrap Bitcoin is going to crash. It's just the same thing. Literally all you're doing is wrapping it, so you can then take that Bitcoin and move it onto a blockchain such as Ethereum, Avalanche, whatever, and put it to use, earn some compound interest, that sort of stuff. Take care, everyone. Chat next week. Cheers.